This is eCommerce Uncensored. Brought to you by Fast Forward Unlimited. We're coming to you fully loaded and exposed with all the strategies and techniques for growing your e-commerce business.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on another episode of eCommerce Uncensored. This is episode number 123. My name's Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso
and Paul Chu.
I'm kind of out of breath after that. I don't know why.
It's been a long week this week.
Yeah. There's a lot of working up to that intro I had.
Yeah.
We've been sitting here for a half hour waiting for Albert to get everything ready.
I know. It's like we hired him to produce the show, and we're fixing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, this week we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to our heart. It is the constant back and forth battle that I have with y'all creatives.
Y'all creatives. It's a very sticky subject because I feel like people who listen to the show that we've met in person have mentioned that. They're like, by the way, I'm kind of in the middle between you guys.
Right.
Remember Jake from that
State Farm?
Yeah. Well, no. Oh. I don't know if Jake still listens. Hey, Jake, if you're still listening. But he made that comment the first time we met him. He's like, you know, I'm kind of in the middle of the creative versus conversion kind of conversation.
Well, he's wrong.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, my God.
You can't be in the middle? I think in the middle is the best place to be.
No, because now you're coming to the dark side.
I'm in the middle still.
All right.
Or I'm moving to the middle.
So this episode was sparked from a meeting that we had with one of our clients. Okay. They're a cosmetic company. And they labor for weeks over their emails, over their Facebook ads, and it literally takes them a very long time to push out their creative for these various marketing things, right? So we're at this meeting, and we don't do Facebook ads for this company because they had another company that they were working with before we started working with them, and they actually like working with this company. They're actually, they're good.
Yeah.
But so we went to this meeting, and they're having this agency is having problems with our client and their client because it takes them so long to get creative done. So they basically showed them this whole presentation about like design and marketing.
It was kind of like one of those things where they're telling them through presentation.
Yeah, right. But before we get into that, let's talk about our favorite email marketing, email relationship building platform, and that is Klaviyo. And one of our clients still calls it Klaviyo. She's like, Klaviyo.
Kim,
she needs a shirt.
Listening?
It's
Klaviyo.
V-O.
She needs a phonetic shirt.
Yeah. If you go to ecommerceuncensored.com/email, you get redirected. You can sign up for a free account up to 250 subscribers. Kevin has something else to say about them.
Yeah, they got this. I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. They have this new video series that they put out. I don't know if they put it out every week, but they got a really nice set of videos that they go to some of their over 15,000 customers that they have, and they explore all the tactics that they use to grow to be where they are at. So you can go to that same link, ecommerceuncensored.com/email, and click on the resources tab on their website, and it's a little navigation button there. We could check out all their video series. They have one, I keep seeing it on Facebook. They're retargeting me for a company called Highlight, and it's like a athletic apparel company. Seems like really interesting. I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, but it's
funny story.
Cool.
So if
it's
you
called Ready, Set, Grow, by the way.
Yes. Funny story about that. If you go to ecommerceuncensored.com/Facebook, you'll get redirected to our Facebook group. And there was a young lady in there that she was like, I'm having buyer's remorse. I just signed up for OmniSend. She's like, I'm having buyer's remorse because I hear all this Klaviyo talk. She's like, I don't know what to do. Oh my God. Like, she was so funny. And I was just telling her, I'm like, look, I'm sure, like other platforms work. We love Klaviyo. We use Klaviyo. Our clients all use Klaviyo. But it was just funny because she's like, I'm just having like this like buyer's remorse. Like,
we had someone from OmniSend actually write a negative review on our podcast. On
I don't think it
iTunes.
was them. It was probably
It was somebody,
somebody.
with their group or something because they were trying to promote a different platform.
By the way, the platform she signed up for, which I didn't mention, but Kevin just did.
yes, you did.
You did say it.
I said Omnisend?
Yep.
All right. Sorry.
We are enjoying a couple drinks on this Friday afternoon.
We are. We have to.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
Klaviyo is a really good platform, though.
Yeah, now you're using it.
I'm using it, and it really, as a designer and just a not, marketer by nature, it's a really easy to use interface.
Yeah.
It's very user friendly, and it's just nice.
How come Paul was allowed to just go in there willy nilly?
Yeah.
He didn't let me in there right away.
Because he's not gonna like mess it up like you.
And I feel like for months you weren't allowed to go in it.
No,
and
he
now
wasn't.
I got login and
Right.
access immediately.
Because you're not gonna go in there and screw around with everything.
And fix everything that you do?
Right.
Yeah. That's what
Anyway,
they call it.
ecommerceuncensored.com/email. Now, back to our meeting. So we're in this meeting, and these guys are like showing them this presentation from this e-commerce. I guess.
It was some kind of conference that
Yeah,
they
I
went
guess it was
to.
a conference that we probably should.
Which it was a really good strategy because they created their own presentation by just taking pictures of someone else's presentation, which was really cool. It's a
And
really good idea.
And it was.
Did they give them credit at least?
No, they were just going over it, and they were just talking about how, like, digital design and branding is so different than print branding, and how print branding lives a lot longer than, say, digital branding. And I think they were like subliminally telling the client, like our client, like, look, we get it. Because he basically said, he's like, we know that cosmetic companies think they're going to save the world through their design, but that's basically that's
Oh,
exactly
wow.
what he said, right?
That's great.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, like they were talking about like how long creative lives in digital and print, and I guess I knew that concept. I just never thought of it that way, but it makes sense, right? I always told you guys, I always fought with you guys. I'm like, look, we can't make it perfect. Let's just make it functional. Let's try to get conversions. Let's try to get sales. Let's test really quickly. And you guys always would push back and say, hey, but it has to look good, which is all right. But I think the time that the design lives is a really good argument for not trying to be perfect, right? Like not.
Well, it's funny because it's starting to get frustrating to the fact that it's starting because I used to be on the dark side. I don't know which side is the dark side.
No,
Yeah, what?
the design
But
side.
I used
The
to be
design
on
side is the colorful
I was
side.
on the colorful side or the design side, which I still am. But it's starting to get frustrating the more and more data I see and the more experience we get that I'm kind of like moving towards the middle. And it's starting to get, because I don't like when you're right. So
I don't think it's a right or wrong thing, though. I think it's like, I am not a designer, but I know what good design should look like, or in my opinion, what I think good design looks like, because everybody has their own opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I personally know, and Kevin, you're finding this out, that if you don't get your clients results, the rest means zero. Nothing, right? So
Yeah.
you can have beautiful design, you can spend hours, you can spend weeks, you can spend years designing an email, and that means nothing to a client if it doesn't make them money, right?
Yeah.
Right? So we all know that. So in my world, previous to Fast Forward, making something look good so that people trusted the brand was enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I just wanted to test as many things as I could or as possible.
Yeah.
And taking 3 or 4 days to do a design, you can't test quickly, right?
Exactly.
So I think what's important, and like we're dealing with this, Kim, I'm sorry. I told you about this podcast. I said it wasn't about you. It's not. It's not, but it does relate a little bit. We're going through this with our new client who, we love. They have a designer who, in my opinion, I think she's really good. She does a really good job. But everything has to be perfect. And like an email that should take an hour or two takes a day or two, right? And then it turns into like 3 and then 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we're in the stage of trying to figure out how people are going to respond to different messages and what kind of messages those should be, and trying to find like what they're going to respond to, you can't take that much time to create design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should be in that day. You should be testing 3 or 4 or 5 designs. I mean, they talked about like Wayfair.
Yeah, in this meeting, and you and I heard it differently. I don't know. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter.
But I thought that they said that every single day they release, they create 1,100 Facebook ads a day. And what they basically did was they created templates for each platform, each format, and then they just stick different designs in those formats.
Mm-hmm.
And basically allows them. Now they have a team of 400 people, but Wayfair, they're an $8 billion company. We all agree that they care about their brand.
Yeah.
Right? But they're saying, like, look, we just have to test things as quick as possible. Or
Because you don't know.
Quickly as possible.
Because you don't know what people are going to respond to, what they're going to engage with.
Yeah. And I guess, like, there is, in my mind, there is definitely an argument for making things look professional, look like you're not like a fly-by-night company, look like you're not flimsy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe for prospecting, maybe for people who don't know you, maybe you take a little bit more time with those, even though those are really the ones you're testing. But so I think there is like an argument to say like there is a time and a place, but digital is so like short.
Well, I think Paul is doing a lot of the creative, and he's running them past me, and I used to be the biggest stickler when it came to these emails that we would do for companies, even ourselves. We used to do, believe it or not, a lot of emails for ourselves. Not a lot, but I remember when we did one. I don't know if you were around, but we did one year for a holiday or something, and we just decided to blast out an email to our client list or whatever. And I was at the point where I was very close to it. I was very a stickler for spelling errors and any kind of errors that were in the emails. The email went out. The first email I got back was from one of our closer clients that I have a relationship with. He's like, "Oh, this was wrong. This was spelled wrong," or something. And I was like mortified. I was like absolutely mortified. Then another email came in. People I knew, people I had known, another email came. "You did this wrong." And they just kept coming. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I send an email out and it's perfect. No one responds. I get no response, no anything. And then I make this mistake and everybody's engaging with me, which is what you want in the end. It's almost like you can do it on purpose.
Right. Like, how about that email that I sent? And I know what you're getting at with this about the wrong offer email, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
But before we do, what about that email that I sent?
Oh, you mean while I was away and I let you do things on your own?
Yeah, the one that said, enter a
subject.
Subject
yeah,
line.
so when you set up an email, some of you already know that, like, when you begin the email, it automatically puts, like, subject line number 1 in the subject line. So at least it's not blank, and then you're supposed to customize what goes in.
Right.
Well, I'm in Aruba. I'm on vacation. I'm sitting in the morning, obviously checking up on everything because I was a control
freak.
Thank you, Jason.
Welcome.
And I get an email that says, subject line 1. I'm like, oh, that's nice. From our client. I'm like, all right, Jason.
But I said, watch this, Kevin. Because, yeah, I do tend to be the one that does things a little bit off the cuff. Kevin's a little bit more of a planner, and he likes to, you're very much better at catching little idiosyncrasies or little issues.
And you move fast, and your brain moves slow, but your hands move fast.
Oh my god!
So I watch you over your shoulder when you're doing things, especially Facebook ads, and it kind of drives me nuts because you go really fast. And I'm like, wait, maybe we should just take a look at that real quick before you go to the next step.
Right.
And you do that.
So, right. So I've been doing this marketing thing for as long as you've been doing the graphic design thing. Right.
47 years, or is
So the
it
whole
65?
thing.
Yeah, 65.
78 years.
So, like, I've done, well, let me back up. I've made mistakes like that before. Maybe not that exact or that specific mistake, but I've made plenty of mistakes. And I said to Kevin, I said, watch this. So that the next email I sent was a duplicate that said in the subject line, oops. It got like a 70% open rate, right? 71, or it was like something insane, right? Because people don't relate to perfect. People relate to humans, right? When you're a brand and you have a logo and you're perfect, there's nobody in this room that could say they can like connect with that. But like when a brand makes a mistake and you're like, wow, they're human. It's just you connect with that.
I get an email from Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm going to go into my Dunkin' Donuts example. I get an email from Dunkin' Donuts probably almost every day from their mobile app, which is outstanding, by the way. You guys should use it. You order on their app, and when you get there, it's just sitting on the counter.
It's like Panera.
I'm not a big Dunkin' Donuts guy.
Well, whatever.
Panera.
You should get Dunkin' Donuts just because you can use the app. But it's great when my kids order those little sandwiches, and it's just ready when I get there. But I get an email from them almost every day. And yesterday I got one. I must have got one in the morning. And then I got one in the afternoon. You'll understand why I say I must have gotten one in the morning. But then I got another one in the afternoon that said, "Sorry, we sent you the wrong offer earlier."
Which is nonsense.
Which was the name of the subject. Which was the subject. So I'm like, oh wow. So I don't. First of all, I have no recollection of me ever getting an email from you
might
earlier.
Not have.
I may not have.
Yeah.
I didn't look back. It doesn't matter enough to me for it to even check. But that's the one I opened.
Right.
But that, in my eyes, is not a mistake. That's intentional creative marketing.
No, but it's predicated around a mistake. We sent you the wrong offer.
Sure.
Like you're like, oh shit, like this is awesome. You know, like they made a mistake. So whether it's intentional or not, I don't think is in my mind like what is important. But what I think what's important is like that we connect with that.
Absolutely,
we like people fucking up. Right.
But at the same time, you'll be very critical about a brand if they can't spell a word right.
Well, spelling the word right is definitely
it's a different kind of
right,
mistake. Yeah.
But like I just got an email. I forgot who it was. Oh, I know who it was. This course that I was taking from a guy. He sent out this email and like the link that like the whole email was about this one link and he forgot to put the link in. Probably didn't forget. He probably did it. It's saved. He might have like a whole. I mean, how many times does that happen? You create an email. Like you're in the middle, you put the link in it, it doesn't save somehow, and then you send it, and it's just, whatever. So, and he did the same thing, and he basically sent it over and said, "Guys, sorry, the link is in it." But when you look up to somebody who does something that you you look up to them, and then they actually make a mistake, you're just kind of like, man, they're just like me.
Yeah.
No,
those are definitely effective. I think that's different than good design and speed, though, like what we started out talking about. Like
but I was talking about but being perfect. Well, see, but this is where I think I disagree with you a little bit. I don't think I'm saying don't have good design.
Right.
I'm saying that perfect design, right?
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think that even saying that, like saying perfect design or a perfect whatever, and even good design, because it's subjective. What is perfect and what is good? Like clearly there's good design, but I think what's more important is like what's successful design. Even that's where we did finally find a middle ground, however many months or weeks ago, where I was like, you know what, you're right. I'm understanding the side of conversion, meeting creative. It can't just be looking pretty. I don't even like saying that. If someone designs to look pretty, that's not what design is. Design is good visual communication. It's conveying a message. So if that happens, whether it looks like dog shit in someone's eyes or whether it's a beautiful palace, it works. If it works, it works.
Yeah, and that's where I think you and I probably were saying the same thing, but just weren't in a different way. Like, you're right. Good design makes people do shit.
Yeah.
And maybe good design, when you look at it, you don't look at it like good design, but it did its job, so it was good design.
Yeah.
Right? And good design is subjective. So what makes somebody do something because of your design, it's not always like the same.
Exactly.
So you know, like I can look at something and say, yeah, that's very well designed, but nobody clicked it.
Yeah.
Right. Or you could look
True.
at it and say, no, that's crap design, and then nobody clicked it. So,
Which is why it's-
somebody did click it.
Which is why it's important to be fast and to make several different variations so you can test and see what people do respond to.
Yeah, and I guess the point of this entire episode that I want to get across is that it's not worth spending days and worrying about the minutia side of things. Like the minutia, like, is there, you know, oh, this color is not exactly right, or like, there's not a shadow. Like that used to drive him nuts. If a shadow wasn't like realistic, he'd go crazy. I'm like, who's gonna open the friggin' email and say, oh, shadow's going the wrong way in that bottle, I'm not gonna click it? Or who's gonna say, oh my god, that design, I'm buying that device because of that design.
No, but it's subconscious.
Nobody does that.
If you look at a Nike email or a Nike ad or whatever it is, whatever,
there's a swoosh.
whatever brand.
That's it.
No. If the photography is really bad, you've been critical about in-house stuff that we've done. If lighting is bad, you might not call it out and be like, I'm not going to buy it because of this. But you subconsciously are going to be like, I don't need shoes just because the design isn't good. Or if the design was on point and the colors are all like coordinated and everything flows and is cohesive, you're not going to maybe credit the design, but that's the point of good design. If it's really, honestly, if it's good design, you don't even know because you're seeing exactly what the message is. You're not getting caught up in the visual side.
But if you have good design and it doesn't work compared to something that you wouldn't call good design and it did work, right? It's subjective, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and those cases happen. But how about if something doesn't work? And granted, you might not know what the fault was, but a lot of times things do convert because it was designed well.
Yeah, and I think
it's
like,
it's everything. Like
even
we said, it's balance. It has to be
balance.
the messaging, the offer, the content.
yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing emails now for 3 years with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you've now kind of seen like, okay, yeah, good design can also make certain things stand out that maybe you weren't like thinking about before,
Absolutely.
right? Like where you put the button, what color the button is, how does it blend with the rest of the design, what it says, like is there any scarcity, is there any urgency, like where does that go in the email?
I totally agree with that. And to go back to what you're saying, the point of this whole episode is, and I do agree with you on this. I think it's really people, whether they're the business owners or the designers, they approach it too personal. It's not really about good design anymore and what's going to succeed. It's that they want to make it exactly how they envision it, and they want to be the last one to touch it, and they want to be the one to get credit for it, especially when you deal with bigger corporations.
Yeah, I mean we've had that several times. I mean, the other cosmetic company out in California that we had, I mean, like they're getting so granular, and I'm saying to myself, like, dude, I mean, this is like an email going to someone's cell phone. Like, it's like they're not going to see that thing. That
I think it comes down, like, you really want to, obviously you want to hit the key points that you just talked about. The button, the call to action, the scarcity, all those things. But it comes down to, like, just wanting to represent your company well as far as the design. You don't want to look like some bum just threw together some words and threw them out to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just all about, like, getting the right either offer or piece of information in front of the right person at the right time. Like you always say it. Like I get Adidas emails all the time. Like Adidas is going to have fine design. They're going to have just fine branding. But I look over them. I don't remember. I can't even tell you what the last email was. But this morning, I got an email. It was 50% off slides, which are those slipper things. I was like, great. I didn't even open the email. I just forwarded it to my wife.
Buy me these.
But it's like, that's it. That's all I needed.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny you say that. Like, so I'm on Dick's Sporting Goods, right? And when I tell you these guys do email right, I get an email multiple times a day, and it's annoying. I just keep it because I like to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and they've obviously segmented me because I click on the golf stuff, and that's all I really click on, right? And they'll send me these emails like 20% off. Now, I've figured Dick's out. Like,
Can't fool me.
I figured Dick's Sporting Goods emails out. their offers are quite BS. Like, no, it's like 20% off, but it's like crap that nobody wants. Oh, take 50% off of this, but like it's like
Select
like,
items and
exactly.
it's like 2 things.
So like,
yeah.
but they sent me an email the other day. It said 50% off of golf. And I opened that mother effer. And I went and I clicked it and I went through and it turned out to be junk. Like it wasn't like any of the stuff that I wanted.
Yeah.
But it was, and I couldn't even tell you what the email looked like. It just said 50% off of golf. That's all I cared about.
Mm-hmm.
It was golf and 50% off. Right? So I guess like, my argument is always like, if it's speaking directly to the person, right? If it's, portraying the right message, like perfection is not like just making the email look like, just like keep fixing things and like that. That's not what's going to move the needle.
Yeah. Well, look, to that point, that can be said about anything. If you're making a website, if you're putting together the subject line and somebody keeps changing it 50 times, I feel like that's more of an overall business efficiency. I'm just pointing it out because I don't want it to keep being always attached to design. I know designers and the design departments and companies are the ones doing that, but right, like you're just we're just frustrated with people always adjusting it and it's not perfect yet. It's not, but you would do that if we were putting together a written email, and if you didn't get it done for 2 weeks, right, you'd eventually be like, hey, it needs to just go out already.
No, I used to take a really long time, and then like I started realizing that, nowadays the conversion is often done before they even get to the website or email, right? Like, I trust certain brands. When they send me the right thing, I buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna. Whatever that email looks like is not going to change that.
Right, but you don't think that the reason you trust them at that point is because of good design and good visual communication up until that point?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a build-up
Yeah.
of it.
Because Titleist has a nice brand and because they, have the right athletes that are, that use their products, and because they have good design and good colors and good products, it's all design. Now you see an email, and it might not be the most perfect, well-designed email, but you trust them because of other design that led up to that point.
And like I said, I don't want to take away the role of design. I just want people to realize that it's more important to test things and then try to make things nice than it is to think that a really good, perfect looking email is going, like, that's not the answer.
In your defense, you are one of the first people who comes out and looks at an email and says, do you think maybe we should put that color here? Like, you do do that. You do tweak design. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that to your defense, you're not completely trashing design. You do take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you're not going to sit there and twiddle with a little friggin' thing.
I take a step. I take a step back and I say, okay, what am I looking at? And if I can't see a clear message, I'll like, hey, let's make the button red. Hey, let's make the button this color. Hey, can we just move this over a little bit? And I like, things spaced out like properly. I want the right side and the left side to look. Right side and the left side to
you want it to be symmetrical?
Yeah, like I want it to be like I want those kind of things. But when people get like angry because like something was like a little bit blacker than they wanted it to be, or just something like that, where like it's just like every little thing
they're nitpicking.
that doesn't really matter, like those kind of things. Like our cosmetic company does this to Tamara all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Put a shadow over here. Cut this off over here. Like guys, come on, let's get the email out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
They're making it
Right.
too personal.
Exactly.
That's what that comes
And
down to.
the point is look, there is a balance. Everybody knows that. We all know that. But you can't let it slow you down. You can't let it hinder your progress. You can't let it get in the way of testing, because testing is much more important than making it look perfect.
Yeah. The testing is how you define successful design. It's
Right.
one way to define it, so.
Agreed. I gotta
Cool.
get back to my beer.
Cool. I think that was good. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I always,
We've
you
had
know, we should have had Tamara on this one.
I thought we should have another one. There's a lot to talk about with design, especially with marketing.
I mean, we've had this topic on our list of topics for about
Yeah.
a year and a half.
Yeah, and we do have another mic. Tamara.
We'll do another one.
All right, let's just re-record this one.
Scrap it. Albert, delete it.
Oh, you'd be so upset, Albert. Oh, we'll just do it on Monday, Tuesday, whatever.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
eCommerceuncensored.com
Whoa.
/email.
Relax.
What?
Go ahead.
That is what you do to him all the time.
All right, go to Klaviyo. eCommerceuncensored.com. eCommerceuncensored.com.
It sounds like you already went back to your beer.
I was
eCommerceuncensored.com /email to go to Klaviyo.
Yeah, sign up for Klaviyo.
Yeah,
And check
and
out
then-
their video series, Ready, Set, Grow.
Yep. And then go to eCommerceuncensored.com /Facebook, and you will redirect to our Facebook group.
Sign up for that. Join us. And that's about it.
Watch our videos.
Yeah, watch
On
our
our
videos
Facebook
on
page.
Facebook. Albert over
the
there.
next
editing our
time
video.
they hear us, it may be in. Actually, no. We're gonna do another one Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So not.
We had somebody say, actually, on our, I don't know where it was, but they said, it's the first time I actually watched your video on YouTube. They got to see actually where we are. They saw our little phone booth here that we have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they mentioned it. Albert, you should be proud. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much for listening. It's been episode 123. As always, you can check us out at eCommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
See ya.